Hi, I'm Dr. Katie Landier, the Senior Centered Physical Therapist, and welcome back. In today's video, I'll be doing a standing Pilates routine with you. As a certified Pilates instructor, Pilates is one of my favorite forms of exercise for training strength, endurance, and balance. All you'll need for this workout is just a chair and the floor. You don't even need shoes on. So when you're ready, let's get started. For this Pilates routine, we're gonna be starting with some squats. So we're gonna be working the quads, which are the muscles in the front of the leg, as well as the hamstrings, so the muscles in the back of the thigh. For our marches, we're gonna work the deep hip flexors. So that's the iliopsoas, which attaches from the femur all the way to the spine. So we can't fully see the attachment there, but it's a deep muscle, as well as our glutes. So glute max, glute med, and then inner thigh muscles. So using more of our adductors, kind of more in the center here of the thighs. For the heel raise, we're gonna be mainly working the gastroc, which is gonna be this big muscle that's actually cut in this picture here. And for our kicks, we're gonna go back to those glutes, so working that glute max, glute med, and glute min. For our arm circles, we're gonna be working the deltoid muscles, as well as our biceps, and then our triceps. And it'll be good stability for our rotator cuff. So that supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and then in the front of the rotator cuff, subscapularis. So that's all the muscles we're working in this video. Let's get started with this Pilates routine. So the first thing I wanna teach us is how to find neutral spine in standing. So I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see me. So my natural tendency is to kind of hang out here. So there's kind of this arch in my back. You can see if I was a bird, my tail feathers would be kind of sticking up. Some people's tendency is to hang out here. So if you're someone that always needs a belt because your pants are falling off your hips, you're probably hanging out here. What we want is to find in between those. So not too arched and not too rounded, but right in between. And what you'll find is as you just kind of shift those hips, you'll find a space where your back is nice and flat, and that's our neutral spine. You'll even feel your abdominals turn on a little bit. So we're gonna work in neutral spine the whole time. So I'm gonna turn back to the front. We're gonna start with our first exercise. That's just a mini squat. So I'm in neutral spine. I'm gonna walk my feet out kind of wide. Then I'm gonna lift my heels and just swing them in. And that's gonna activate just my glutes, upper legs, get everything kind of ready to work. Then we're just gonna squat. I'm gonna keep my hands on my hips. You can put your hands on the chair, whatever works for you, but I'm just doing a little mini squat. So just kind of squatting at the top. And I'm kind of imagining that my body is between two panes of glass. So I'm just sliding down, sliding up. I'm not sticking my butt out, but just lowering and lifting. We're gonna try to do 8 of each of these exercises, but I think the statistic is 5 out of 4 Pilates instructors struggle to count, so we're gonna do our best with 8. We're gonna go 3 more. 2, 1. We're gonna keep that same position, just go a little lower. So we lower and lift. If you need to walk the feet out a little bit wider, that's totally fine. Just feeling that activation in the back of the legs, get those glutes nice and warm. Here's 4. 5, 6, 7, and 8. We can give a little shake of the legs. Next, we're gonna go into a march. So normally in a march, once again, we're not in that neutral spine, so you'll kind of see one of these. That's not how we march in Pilates. So in Pilates, we find that neutral spine, and I'm gonna make sure all 4 tires of the foot are on the floor. So what does that mean? You imagine your foot as a car. You have 2 tires in front, one at the base of the big toe, and then one at the base of the pinky toe, and then 2 tires in the back, one on each side of the heel. So I want even tire pressure, and then I'm gonna float one leg up and lower it back down, and then float the other leg up. And you can see my left side's even harder for me to balance, and that's okay. I just don't wanna kick my hip out. I wanna keep this leg nice, active as I'm lifting that opposite leg. So there's 2. And we can even think about the inner thigh, just kind of floating us up towards the ceiling, using those belly muscles. It's a quick one, it happens. Try to find those 4 tires. We're also getting a lot of good deep hip flexor. So deep hip flexor is what's gonna help us get up from low surfaces, get in and out of the car, things that are so important to us functionally. So trying to lift that thigh as close to the chest as we can. I've lost count, but I'm gonna do one more on each side. And then shake those legs again. Next, we're gonna go into our heel raise. So for this, my feet are gonna be right underneath those hips. I'm gonna lift my heels up, swing them in. So now the heels are touching. If you have knock knees, you're gonna have a hard time getting those heels to touch. Totally fine. Allow for them to be moved apart. It's okay. We just wanna think about reaching the heels towards each other. So my heels are gonna go in, they're gonna connect, and they're gonna try to really squeeze together at the top. So we find that connection, and we'll feel it all the way up the legs. Here's 3, my toe loves to crack when I do this. 4, and trying to get my head to go straight up towards the ceiling rather than leaning forward. So I really hover those heels and lower. Let's do 2 more. Excellent, lower down. Whew, that'll need a good shake of those legs. We're gonna give the legs a rest for a second. We're gonna switch to arms. So our arms are just gonna float out to the side here. And then all I'm gonna do is little circles backwards. So I can pinch my shoulder blades together towards my spine, and that's gonna help my rotator cuff too. So it's gonna get me a lot of stability in that shoulder, even as I'm moving the arms. So make sure you keep breathing, even if you're pinching those shoulder blades. And we'll do 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna reverse that circle. Even though we have no weight, we can already feel, right, how much work just working against gravity is for the arms. So this is a great one that you can obviously do wherever you're at to tone and strengthen those arms. And we'll go for 3, 2, 1. Arms can float down. Give a little wiggle, give a little shake. We're gonna move back to our legs. So for this, I'm gonna kick out to the side. This is where I'm gonna use my chair. I'm gonna find a slight turnout in my standing foot and make sure all 4 tires are down. I'm lifting up from my inner thigh, so my glutes are engaged, my inner thighs engaged. I'm just gonna kick out to the side. I just wanna make sure I'm not dumping in that hip, keeping it nice and tall. Here's 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 8th one, we're gonna hold little pulse towards the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Give a little shake. And then I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see me, but I'm gonna kick backwards here. So same thing, still have that slight turnout. And then I'm gonna point my toe, circle it around, and then lift. So I'm lifting from that glute, not the back. I wanna keep my back nice and neutral as I just float that leg up. And it's okay if it's not very high. We just wanna feel that activation right there. Here's 5, 6, 7. On our 8th one, we'll hold it up. Little pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoo, slide it in. Give a wiggle. Then we're gonna do the other side. So I'm gonna just move my chair to the other side. You can just turn around, whatever works. But I will just float that chair right there. And then same thing, so I wanna set up my foot so it's got that slight turnout, and then I'm gonna kick out to the side. I'm really trying to find the inner thigh on this side because I wanna do that. My body loves to dump in that hip, but I'm gonna try to make it nice and strong. Here's 5, 6, 7. Hold up on 8, little pulse, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower down, wiggle it out, and then we're gonna turn. So finding that nice point of the foot, circle it back, and lift and lower. Keeping the breath going. We've got 3, 2, hold it up on 1, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, and rest it. You can pat the bum, helps sometimes. Our last exercise here is called the cat-cow or cat-camel. If you are someone that has osteoporosis, I don't want you to do the cat part, which is rounding in the spine. I just want you to go from neutral to extension, and I'll show you both. So I'm just gonna turn towards my chair and walk my feet back a little bit. So if you have osteoporosis, you're just gonna hinge at the hip, and then you're gonna float the heart towards the chair, and then bring yourself back to neutral. If you don't have osteoporosis or osteopenia, you're gonna round through the spine, and then you're gonna float the glutes, reach the heart towards the chair, and then round. So whichever version you're doing, it's kind of moving in and out. Should feel really nice on the spine. Get a little stretch in the back of the legs, little stretch in the arms. Finding the breath, inhale here, exhale, round. Let's just do 2 more. Finding that nice stretch right there. Keeping the eye gaze down on the floor to protect the neck. Last one. And then we can round it all the way up into standing. You've just completed this standing Pilates workout. Excellent job. Until next time, I'm Dr. Katie Landier, the Senior Centered Physical Therapist. Have the strength to live life to the fullest. Bye-bye.